Welcome back to the GSTL, where FXOpen on their last leg, Hurricane, has actually been able to take one win, but he needs two more.
He needs two more, and if anyone on the FXO bench these days can accomplish that, then it's definitely going to be Hurricane. He's up against the Terran player next. It is Center, a new addition to the AZUBU roster.
I talk about this a lot, but at the time he was called Tier, now Hurricane. At first was such a great sniper. He was the player I called the wild card Protoss, because when things were going rough, you needed to take somebody out, you could throw him out there. But now he's like the solid anchor late game player for the team. And he used to snipe a lot of Terrans using crazy builds, but I think up against Center, he's just going to play straight up.
He definitely has the experience to do it, and also the track record against Terran with a 70% win ratio in this matchup. Only against Koreans, he is in a really good spot. On the other hand, we have Center with the experience abroad, especially playing against foreign players. He did quite well, but against Koreans, it's a little bit more scary. The coach here are not smiling right now. They are in a good position, but they still lack Symbol and also Supernova on the bench. They are ahead in the series, and they can still take it here, but they are not there yet. And Hurricane is a tough opponent to face. He's a guy who can definitely win 3 games in a row.
Yeah. Both players ready to go in the lobby. The map is Whirlwind. He has chosen Whirlwind as the map. A big map. He wants to play late game against him. He's got only a few map choices left. Doesn't want to pick Fruitland, I suppose.
I don't know why. I love Fruitland.
I do too. I hate fruit, but I love Fruitland.
That's good.
It's like I love fruit snacks, but I hate fruit. It's like I'll drink orange juice, but I won't eat orange juice.
That so doesn't make sense.
That's the wolf rule.
The wolf rule. Is that a thing now? Okay.
It's the wolf rule, man.
Hurricane on Whirlwind going up against Center. Potentially the last game of the day, depending on the AZUBU player. Can he overcome the obstacle here? Can he take down the Protoss opponent? This is game number 6 today here at the GSTL match between AZUBU and FXOpen at the GSTL 2013 with Colin Wolf.
It's full force when I step to the fore, bringing you that fuel source fresh from the core. Right mind, thinking strong, you like iodine. With blueprints, these huge quotes that my mind designed.
Starting to the bottom left, the Terran player for Team AZUBU. In red, it is former Quantic player
AZUBU Center.
Before he joined Quantic, he was part of TSL up to the point where the team disbanded.
Yeah, strong, solid Terran player, underestimated by many.
He's up against the Protoss at the top right, the last man standing for FXOpen. Formerly known as Tier, he is
FXO Hurricane.
Center is a player who was on the cusp of greatness at the end of Wings of Liberty. He had that one last shot at Codas in the up and downs, and he just could not cut it. Even after getting the wild card spot in the up and downs, he just could not quite get into Codas.
And you know, we talked a lot about snipers today. If you go up against FXOpen, the players that I definitely would expect to face these days are Hurricane and Lenok. Then my third pick would be Seed. And I would not have really thought about SC. That was the one, the fourth player is the one that was a little bit like weird. But I feel 2 players that you can definitely, that you know will play are Lenok and also Hurricane. Especially Hurricane, because Hurricane is the one, as we mentioned like countless times already today, who's currently the most successful for the team. So, who's the sniper? Is it Center?
It could be. It really could be.
If they really put a lot of thought into this, and we assume this because they put out Vines as a counter to Lenok, then Center might be the guy who trained for Protoss in particular.
Yeah, and he's got the map pick. He spawns cross spawns, he goes CC first, so everything is working well for him so far, even goes double barracks. Will he bomber it up and go 3 barracks here? I think there's a high chance. That's a great style for playing against a Protoss player on this map. So far, Hurricane, no scout, 2 and 2, double refineries, or rather double assimilators. And in fact, no third barracks just yet. He wants to have the minerals for the orbitals. Double orbital.
I feel this is now a pretty tense match. The reason why we always like theorize a little bit about what the coaches do is because there are so many coaches, or there were in the past a lot of teams, some of them don't even exist anymore, where the preparation for a team match, as silly as it might sound, really just was like, okay, you play first, you second, you third, you fourth. That actually happened. But there are also a lot of teams that just really think a lot about and try to prepare snipers. And the depth of both teams is just so for this particular match you can prepare a lot of those guys. Especially since huge parts of the lineup are not participating really in the individual league, but focus only on the team league. So that's why you can set them to that one sole task of preparing for an opponent. That would make a lot of sense because this is the time where they can really shine. And we saw it with Vines, we saw it with Patience who could prepare for this game, who also did a good job like last time. So I feel that Center has to be one of the guys who really prepared for Hurricane.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, there's no way for us to know for sure, but it seems likely. I mean, nice deny here, by the way, on the Probe Scout.
What you usually would try to do is set up a sniper for a certain player. And then if your plan goes really like completely off because two of your players get killed, you didn't expect that, then you can just go for Ace and try to just go for a little bit of variation. But in the end, you have a certain strategy coming into a team match. The coach has a certain idea of what he wants to do. After the first 2 games, that might be completely demolished, and you might find yourself in a spot where you just have to like freestyle it. And I think that's what Choya did today to a certain extent because he didn't expect those 2 losses early on, and who would? But right now, Center might be the guy that the team had up their sleeve to deal with Hurricane, which is still a pretty tough opponent to face. We talked about it, like 70% win ratio against Terran with the opponents that he faced. That's pretty impressive.
Didn't get to talk about it too much just yet, but this is going to be the same build that we saw earlier as CDU. He's going for 3 barracks. Like I mentioned, there was a high probability he was going to add that. Goes into quick stem and also has the fast +1 at the eBay. So he wants to hit fast and hard, and he will have a very fast stim with this. But we do not have the build that we saw, of course, earlier coming out here for Hurricane. He's not doing the Immortal Push. Don't want to do that cross spawns on this map. When you're at the players' positions they were on the previous map, Frost, then you have a much shorter rush distance, a lot more potential. He's going for a fast forge, but he goes +1 attack and not +1 armor, which means he's probably going to put some Colossus pressure on here, which is exactly why we see the robotics support bay coming down right now.
And once you have the first Colossus in the game, you also shut down a lot of the aggression with the bio forces in the beginning. But the Mothership Core alone is doing a great job with this already, since you have the Photon Overcharge that you can always use. It's one of those things where a lot of Terran players discuss these days if this is a little bit too strong, because it makes sure that in the early game the Protoss is kind of safe no matter what he does. But at this point, map control, at least Xel'Naga Watchtower control, goes to Hurricane again since he moves out onto the map with a double Stalker.
Double Observer spots the entire Terran army. He knows he's up against something fierce here. And he actually starts to take a little bit of damage on his Stalker there.
Talking about the Observer is of course really important if you want to take control of the center of the map again. There are line of sight blockers and you need to know what's behind them before you really engage with your Stalkers. And that's something that Hurricane did there. He knew how many units returned and he knew, okay, you move back with everything, you just left 1 Marine at the Xel'Naga Watchtower. This is why he engaged. If not for this information, he would have never done that.
Yeah. He knows a big push is coming too, so he gets an Immortal first before the Colossi, also getting his Mothership Core in position. And he's cut probes quite significantly here to get some extra gateways out, because he knows if he holds this push well, then his counter pressure with the Colossi or his ability to do a third base, whichever he prefers, is going to be, so much more comfortable. So he just needs to make sure that he sits back and does not overcommit to pro production. He's got the gateways up now. He starts armor, gets another Colossus in range, so now he can start pro production again. He's playing this very carefully. And it looks like Center may not even commit anymore without the Medivacs. Now they're boosting across.
Medivacs are boosting across the map. And on Whirlwind, especially with cross position, we oftentimes see late game oriented strategies. So is Hurricane really going to commit to this and trying to maybe elevate it into his opponent's main base while just poking at the front and trying to just maybe cause a little bit of an irritation, just distract him a little bit more? Could be something that we're going to see. First of all, he's taking down an Observer. But there's the third base now. Okay, third base and the map control, so now we're going to see more drop play coming in.
Yeah, and he actually may get intercepted. No, but the Phoenix, Phoenix unlucky here, does not spawn the Medivacs. The Medivacs are smart. Center sends his Medivacs very smartly to the north at that angle, but finally here is spotted by the Phoenix.
Yeah, and now he has to, if he wants to continue with this attack, he has to afterburn now, but I think he's still in cooldown, and the army is already on the way to the top right, so there's no chance for him to actually make that drop.
And another Phoenix here by Hurricane spots the army in the middle of the map, so he's not going to get caught off guard there. Boosts, sees the army, and turns around, boosts away.
Yeah, trying to find an opening, but Hurricane doesn't give him one. Hurricane is well aware about the position he's in right now, and he is making sure that he always has a few units at hand in the main base so that he can fend off attacks there. He's going for his own third base, but here comes a quick poke. The Colossus is there, though. Good force fields. And the evacuation with the Medivac successful, but still losing Marauder and the Marines.
Yeah, a lot of units lost there. The army right now for center is quite strong, and he has a third base completed here. He just needs to make sure he doesn't lose his units, and this is a great turn of events from the army of his opponent is completely out of position. He's going to kill the Nexus, it looks like, potentially here. He's going for it.
Yeah, and he might be able to accomplish that, actually. He's splitting his army already. I think he will just barely be able to do that. It's close, but he's able to make it happen. Gets the Nexus, and now his opponent is on one base.
Yep, one base against 3. The third base for center already up and coming. But this counter pressure is going to be so scary. Right now, army supply 72 for center, but the army composition for his opponent at 65 army supply is arguably much better because there's only 4 Vikings on the map.
He's getting a second starport, he's getting the armory, he's getting the additional Vikings, he's going from the Marauder production. Can he stop this aggression? Senna would be a good spot if he makes this happen. And he has everything already in position. Bit of a premature stim that we see here, though.
That was actually a huge whiff. I mean, that gives his army so much less staying power. That might actually cost him the game. Here come the SCVs. He knows he needs those to fight this. Guardian Shield goes up. This could be the last engagement of the game. Stalker's walking out here to die. Another stim ends up being not so useful here, and he can't stim forever with no Medivacs really to support his army. Nice attack here, killing a lot more probes.
That killed a lot of Harvesters, and during the entire time he just produced more units, especially Vikings that can now help against the Colossi. We had a recall, and he's moving in again, but this Nexus might have to be cancelled. It's going to be close, but I think he's just barely able to save it. Yeah,
he's going to save it for now, but it's taken a lot of hits, and a follow-up drop could be deadly. All of this buys him more time to get more Medivacs out, making 3 at a time. He's also getting Ghosts to get some EMPs out and also to deal with the Templar that are coming. And Center's position just gets better and better. The one thing he's really missing is the 2-2 upgrades. +2 is done now for Hurricane.
He needs Medivacs. He needs them so much. He's building 3 at a time, as you said, but he needs them fast because at this point his army is very, very low in hit points, and that's something that he has to make sure that it's going to change really soon. But he has a pretty good position, and those Stalkers blink away in the last second.
I was so scared he was going to stim again. He's been very trigger happy with that stim.
Hitting that T button like a boss.
Yeah. 3 more barracks on the way to also increase his ability to produce units, and these Medivacs being used as drops actually kind of hurts him in some ways because he really needs to heal a little bit before he goes, as he starts to realize here. Healing this army up quite significantly, and the more energy he uses for heals here, the less he worries about feedbacks.
Kills another observer, well done. Storm is halfway completed now, but the drop is already on the way to the top right. Not scouted so far. If he snipes that Templar Archive before the Storm tech is done, that would be devastating for Hurricane, and Hurricane is going to be distracted since the army, or the rest of the army of Center, is moving to the right side. He's scanning ahead, he's showing his opponent where he is, and the drop is moving in at the top.
Yep, here we go. Will he get the archives?
He will.
It's exposed. He needs to target it. He does not target. Goes for the pylon instead. Now he targets, and he will stop Storm.
He stops Storm, he takes it down, and here comes the rest of the army, and oh my god, Hurricane is in trouble here. He's losing his tech, and the map control goes to his opponent. In the main base, the Marauders are still going strong.
Yeah, he's even struggling to take them out with Stalkers. A blink here. Wow, even takes out one of the Stalkers to that last Marauder. Worth his weight in minerals, and now he can boost the Medivacs back into the army, use them as healers, and he knows now that he doesn't really have to deal with Storm, so he stops Ghost production, continues the upgrades for his Vikings, probably going to make a few more Vikings if he chooses to. Right now it's 9 Vikings to 4 Colossi, a pretty good ratio. He's already damaged a few of the Colossi too.
He's already at 200 supply, he can get another base, he's actually just pulling all his SCVs. He knows that there is no Storm, he knows it, he saw that thing spin, and he took it out, so he's well aware that if he attacks right now, he has a massive lead over his opponent. He has the Viking count that he needs to deal with the Colossi, and a lot of the army is actually caught in the main base. So right now Santa is going for the win, and he's moving in with everything that he has.
He's been spotted. The Stalkers are coming through now. Here come the rest of those units. He's deciding to fight at the bottom of the ramp instead of going up. Mothership Core is strong here, but here we go.
Here we go, and immediately the Viking power is trying to make it work and taking down Colossi after Colossi. The second one is already gone. The third one is being punished, and we have the Bioforces just moving in, muscling their way through the entire army of Hurricane and taking down the base.
That is not only the end of the base, but the end of this game because he does not have Storm. He makes it a few Templar start Storm again. I think he thought it finished. Zealot run by cleaned up here. Not very many SCVs left to kill at this point. The army very red. 1 or 2 Storms could change the game, but he just doesn't have it. The Nexus falls, and I think this is the end of FXOpen here in their second Team League match.
This has to be game. There's the GG. And Senna, he does it. Probably trained as a sniper here. He plays the game. He sees the Storm tech go down, and he decides to pull all of his SCVs and just go for it. This drop was definitely the decisive moment in this game.
Absolutely. That definitely turned the tides there. Great control of the whole game, though. Map control, map awareness, drops everywhere. Constantly pressuring his opponent. A few extra stims. That was his only weakness in the game, really, but he was able to make up for it.
There was definitely a scary point in the game when his army was very low in HP and he only had a single medevac out. But at this point, there was just not enough army for Hurricane to make it happen. And Shoya, he's not happy at all. His team lost again. The indicator is now at -6.
Yeah, and Shoya looks like he can cry. Being 0-2 and -6 puts them at the worst spot in the league so far.
And this all happened with the 2 best players on the team, on Team AZUBU, missing.
Yes. And Center is the guy that they needed. And that puts his win ratio against Koreans all the much higher.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say this. AZUBU with fantastic play today. Missing their best players, putting out the B-teamers, and still rocking FXOpen here, taking the win 4-2.
Patience with the initial 2 wins, then losing to Lenok, Lenok being sniped by Vines, and then Hurricane enters the stage, is able to take down his Protoss opponent. But Senna, he turns things around and he makes it happen. He wins the last game, and therefore AZUBU today with a 4-2 over FXOpen.
Yep, it's been a crazy day of matches today. Here are our current standings. FXOpen at -6 all the way at bottom, completely the opposite of X and Mace, who find themselves at +6, and Startail and Soul kind of making up the lower spots there.
And this is all she wrote, guys. So we have, once again, Team AZUBU successful. Together with X and Mesa, they're currently leading the rankings here. FXOpen is in trouble. They have to somehow fight their way back, but it's not going to be easy.
Yep. You know, Startail and FXOpen, 2 of the oldest teams in the books, just having some trouble this season. Yeah, Startail's only 0-1 compared to FXOpen. They haven't played their second match yet. Most people expected Startail to be dominant, but it's Axiom, Acer, and AZUBU actually on top.
Yeah. So this is it for the day, guys, but keep in mind that we have more games coming up next week. There has also been a change in the schedule. Next week we have 2 matches on Tuesday.
Yes.
Startail is going to face Soul, as you can see.
Yeah, Soul getting a new logo, as you can see, to represent their new management, and it looks pretty sexy. I like it.
Yeah. This is the game at 6 p.m. Korean Standard Time, but we have another match at 1 p.m. Korean Standard Time just before that.
Yeah, and there will be Code S tonight in just about 2.5 hours' time, so don't miss it. Bombers Group, going to be exciting.
Yep. It's going to be really strong, and thanks everyone for tuning in today. I hope that you enjoyed the games. AZUBU takes it again, is now 2-0 in the rankings. We're going to see you guys next week. Stay tuned.
4 years, 4 kids later down the line. My progression is my profession. I'm doing shows with a 9. My mama's trying to kick, and my sister, she doing fine, and I'm making my way